Okay, welcome back to my channel, Blip here. Today I'm going to demonstrate how the lyric system works and the new tool that's available to subscribers on my Ko-fi page. So let's talk to it. First off, if you haven't seen my introductory video, please go check that out. I'll leave a link to that below in the description. But this is Sonic Groove and the lyric system that I've incorporated into the application. So to get started, you may or may not have seen my new released song called Weekend Hours. This is an AI generated song just for the copyright police out there. And what I did is after rendering this song into Sonic Groove, I incorporated a lyric system so that you could display lyrics up top or the bottom. It's positional, so you can decide which way to go. But let's just kind of show just a snippet of that first. The song starting here. Let me get into the actual. Here we go. I count the days like scars on my wrist. So as you can see, it displays up there center in the top, and it's timed with the music. And I'll show you how I did all of that. This was a challenging song because it's very verbose. Both the first verse and the second verse have a lot of back-to-back rapid-fire lyrics, and I had to spend a lot of time tweaking the lyric tool to accommodate for that. When you get everything combined, it's really good. Nothing's perfect, right? Because ultimately now Sonic Groove is trying to render and animate the visualization and manage all of that, plus throwing the lyrics and displaying those and fading in and out of those. And so it all happens very, very fast, and it's more CPU intensive, more memory intensive. So one of the things I had to do was to increase the frame rate. So if lyrics are incorporated, it's going to run at 60 FPS. Normally, Sonic Groove runs at 30. And I say 30 because that is a resultant frames per second based on all kinds of other math that's happening with the millisecond ratio of the bars and the animation, the timing behind all of that. My point is all of those pieces influence the rendered display of both things, both the visualization and the lyrics. And so I had to do some fuzzy compensation for some things, just because, especially when you're dealing with rapid fire lyrics and a lot of back-to-back transitions, you have to kind of find that happy medium where you time it as best you can in the lyric app, but then the display is a whole nother animal. So you have to kind of find that common ground. I'll show you what I mean here. Let me get to the first verse. See all that back to back? It's real rapid fire lyrics. And so I had to get that looking decently. And what I mean is when you're dealing with the lyric editor, you're not dealing with the visualization. You're just dealing with timing and placement of those lyric pieces within a time span. So let me go show you how I got to this end result. And we'll go launch up my lyric tool. Again, this is For this is for those of you out there that subscribe to my Lyricist subscriber option available on my Ko-Fi page. And I'll link all of that below. So when you subscribe, you will get access to this, and I'm just going to plug in my credentials here and do the special CAPTCHA thing. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Did I not do that right? Every time it's something different. We got to love these things, right? Okay, so let me go choose my tracks out, and I'll show you how I got there. So this is the track here, and then I'm going to launch my lyrics file. Now, the source lyrics file is just, let me show this to you so you can see it separate. It is just a plain lyric formatted document. And what I mean is there's headers signifying, verse and chorus, etc. Let me go launch that. Here's what it looks like. So as you can see here, it's got, it's broken down. It's got the chorus, the pre-chorus, the bridge, so Sonic Groove, or the Lyric app, knows how to ignore these headers. And what it does is when you import, it brings in each of these lines as a separate placement of lyric. So you get all these lyric blocks. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's go here. Went to lyrics and open that up. So I have my music and my raw lyrics, and I want to create basically a rendered JSON file that has all the metadata for the timings. That's the key piece that Sonic Groove needs, is it needs JSON file that has all the timings baked within. And so this tool allows you to set all of that up. So you click the start, and right away you're presented with a new UI. This is the lyric UI. Over on the left, you have all of those lyric lines brought in as chunked pieces. And then you have, volume control, you got play pause, there's keyboard shortcuts as you would expect. And pretty much what you're looking to do is you start playing the song and plunking in the lyrics. Now, to assist you with all of that, there are hotkeys. So you'll see up here it says press G to place a lyric. And what it does is when the cursor on the timeline is animating and you hit G at a certain point, it's going to place the next available lyric block on the timeline and associate a start and end time with that lyric block. And so you can literally just have your finger over the G key, and as the song is progressing, you can start placing each block of lyric accordingly. You can set the default duration of the lyric. So that's the other thing that you have to play with, is stretching out or collapsing the duration of each lyric on the timeline, because you may need to tweak that based on how quickly the music's moving and how quickly or how long the phrase is. So to give you an example, I'm going to hit play here. The track's going to start, right? And I'm listening as an editor for that first piece of lyric. Okay, I happen to know the song very well, so I know it was there. Okay, you see that? What it did is when I hit G, it used this default 2-second duration and plunked the lyric on the timeline. So if I go back, that is essentially what's going to be represented in Sonic Groove. Now, understand again, there's a lot of other stuff happening in Sonic Groove once it's piecing all of this together that influences timing and performance and animation and all of that. So it's a science. Is what I'm trying to say. But this gives you a great starting vehicle for placing all of these lyrics out and laying them on a timeline. Now, there's other quick keys with placement. So you can hit the numerals 1 through 5. So if you know you want a faster placement off the get-go and not the default 2 seconds, you can hit 1. And that will place a 1-second duration for lyrics. And I will do that here shortly, as well as the other ones, 2 through 5, without having to manually stretch and collapse each block. You can zoom in. So I'm going to zoom into the timing here. And no matter how far you're zoomed in or zoomed out, once the cursor gets past the viewable time range, everything's going to auto jump to the next available section of time, is my point. So let's hit play. I'm hitting the space bar, so I don't have to come up here and use the UI. I can just hit the space bar as you would expect. And again, you can listen first or place. I know the song very well, so I knew that was coming up. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so let's see how that came up. So I want to stretch that out a little bit so that you get more duration. That's pretty good. All right, and then she says, and let it go. Now let it go. So I'm going to do that about there. Okay, I'm going to stretch that out because there's a sustain, right? So we're going to... Now let it go. Okay, she does a hey, so we're going to do that. And I'm going to do the 1 second placement on that since that's a really quick word. So let's see how that came out. Okay, that's pretty good. I can slide. That's the other thing. Not only can you stretch and collapse each lyric block, but you can reposition it on the timeline. All right, that's pretty good. So you get the gist of this. You're just, using the visual blocks of lyric lines. It keeps track of where you are, tells you what you've placed. It says I've placed 5 of 76 lyric lines. If for some reason the Lyric app doesn't do a good job of parsing a line, you can come in here and edit it. You just click the edit and resave it and tweak it. It's that simple. I can zoom in further here. Now we get a little bit of interlude here. And this is where verse 1 starts. And it's rapid fire real quick. So I'm going to use the 1 second option of placement up here. So, okay, he says steel sky. Let me move that a little bit. Steel sky. So what you're doing here is when you're dealing with rapid fire, you want to use these short intervals. And that allows you to... Yeah, see, I need to get that over some. In fact, let me just... When you're dealing with really tight, the UI can be a little finicky, and I'm still working on that, but just note you may have to just erase. You can just hit the X on one and replace. See how I got that back to back here? So now I got my timing pretty good on that. And again, I know the song very well, so I'm gonna hit the next couple because it's rapid fire. And I did because it's rapid fire, I'm using the 1 second place up here where you can use the 1 through 5 keys. And what that does is it saves me time because now I'm not having to finagle the stretch on that lyric box to signify a shorter time frame and collapse them. I can just hit that 1 and that gives me a nice quick placement. And again, I can, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then, so I got hollow. And that's the gist of placement. And so I'm not going to go through the whole song, but what I want to also show you here is, if I want to navigate, there's different ways I can zoom out. I can pull the timeline here back to the beginning and start at the beginning. So those of you that are really familiar with like audio waveform editors, that's what I built this or modeled this after so that you could quickly, get to a different section of the song. Now let's say the dog's barking. You got to go run an errand. You don't want to lose all this work that you've done. Well, you can now save session. I added this very recently. So I can save session that dumps a session JSON and down to your downloads. And so if I quit out of this, I can come back in here, go back in to lyric.sonicgroove. I'm already authenticated, so it remembered my session. And I can re-choose those files and pick up right where I left off. So I'm going to go to the drive again, choose out my song, grab my lyric file again, hit open, and then start manual placement as if I'm starting over, but I can come up here and go to load session and choose my last save, and now I pick up right where I left off. So that's really huge, right? Big time saver. So you don't have to replace all those things and you're not done. Now when you're done, you can do a couple things. First off, you can't save a finalized lyric sync JSON until you're done placing. So that's why these are grayed out. This store, what this does is it does a quick save to the application local session storage. And what that means is if you just needed a quick and dirty spot to save it, to come back to later and get at later, you can save it directly to the app and then you can pull it out of there once you're done placing. Let me actually load a different session. I'm going to go to a fully completed one that I did recently, which is actually represents the YouTube video, the one I used for that. So I'm going to go back to my drive here. Again, this is all running off of a USB stick, the files that I'm pulling. So let me go into that session, which is here. Now you'll see those buttons turned on because I saved a session that had all of the lyrics placed. They're all placed. So now I can store that to the app by hitting store. Again, you don't have to do that. Let me show you what that looks like. So if I come back to the main page, it puts a link here. This is saved to your browser's local session storage. And it just gives you a quick way to go get at it. You don't have to use that. It's not required. It's just an option. If you wanted to go look at the raw JSON of this file without having to open it up and finding it in your session storage, you can come over here to this button and load it up. And it gives you a whole output of that JSON. And you can see where it placed the lyric, and it has a start and end time. And then from here, from your local session storage, you could then download it or copy it into something else, etc. It just gives you another way to manage that saved sync file. But the normal way is you go back to your full view. And so what I'm going to do is reload everything. So let's go to my song here. Bear with me as I reload this and choose my lyrics. And I'll go into the lyric file. Okay. Start placement like I'm starting over, but then I'm going to load my completed session that has everything. Now I can, if let's say I made some tweaks, I didn't like the timing on that beginning hey. So let me go adjust that. Let's say I wanted to hit that just a little bit earlier. Okay, and then I can save session, which is the whole kit and caboodle, or I can just go ahead and generate the file that Sonic Groove is actually going to use. I call it the sync file, but I'll just hit generate JSON, and that gives you a manual lyrics timing JSON. You can, rename that to whatever you want. But now what I can do is I can I'm just going to go to the light demo version of Sonic Groove to give you a fresh view on this. This is the demo app of Sonic Groove that's online. It's watered down, doesn't have all the same features as the standalone app. But to show you starting from scratch, I'm going to load my song here. Demo. And load the track. And then there's a little lyric page icon, so I can click that. I could manually throw in some JSON, or I'm a subscriber and I happen to have access to the lyrics tool, so now I can go choose that file where I saved it, open that up. Sorry, that's my session file, but I want this one. Open that up, and now it turns green. That lets me know that when this track is going to play, it's going to remember, hey, I've got lyrics, and it's going to auto-display them and sync them as best that it can. And what's really cool about all of that is if I close out of Sonic Groove, the light demo version or the standalone app, and I come back into it and I go add that song, as long as you haven't wiped out your local session cache, your local session storage in your browser, it will remember that you associated lyrics to it. And so now I can come into this tunes, load my original track, and it's already green. So I don't have to re-associate the lyrics. It remembers that it had them to begin with. So I can hit play there or play down here. Let me advance the track a little bit. And there's my lyrics showing up. See? Fix the hey on that a little bit better. works a little bit better. So there we go. Now Sonic Groove is playing the track, but also parsing out those lyrics and displaying them when it needs to, based on the timings you set in that JSON file. So that's the Sonic Groove Lyric app. Hope you enjoyed this demo. I hope you'll drop by my itch page or my Ko-fi page. Ko-fi, a lot of people say it differently. I use both. But please stop on by one of my sites. I'll link them below. Leave a comment, leave a tip. If you like what you see today, subscribe to my channel. I appreciate anything that you can do. And thanks for spending time with me today.